Folks, the official Scarlet and Violet OU tier list usage stats for January are out, and let me tell you, some of these are completely insane. In this video, I'll be going over all of the new updates, the tier list raises, drop downs, and all that good stuff. So let's get right into it and see what we have here. Alright folks, so let's get right into it. We have to discuss the elephant in the room. You like that? You like that little joke? Or pachydermis friend, Great Tusk. Is this the greatest Pokemon of all time? Numbers don't lie, folks. Remember that. Men lie, women lie, aliens lie. Numbers, they never lie. 53% usage for Great Tusk. This is unprecedented usage. I've played a lot of Pokemon, right? I've seen a lot of generations, a lot of different metagames. Early metagame in Gen 6, 7, 8, and now 9. Mid metagame, all this stuff. Never has a Pokemon had 53% usage. This is really crazy. Even Landorus T in its super reign of like mega usage terror in OU, I think it capped at like a 40%, maybe 45%. So to see a Mon have more than 50%, in my mind that means, well, the battle has two teams because there's two players in every battle. So if Great Tusk has 53% usage, what does that mean? Does that mean in every single battle at least somebody's using Great Tusk? That's basically what it means, right? Yeah, I guess some battles there could be no Tusk, and then a lot of battles there's Tusk on Tusk action. But let me tell you something. This elephant outbreak, this is too much now. This is too much for the agency to see. 53% is out of, like, you gotta understand, Landorus T was never like that annoying. Landorus T didn't have that close combat, that headlong rush. Yeah, Landorus T was strong, but let's not act like everybody was running Swords Dance Landorus T or something like that. Z-Move was the best thing it got back in Generation 7 for being the offensive juggernaut. Then Gen 8 came around and everyone was like, watch this. And it was all just Stealth Rock, U-turn, toxic, knockoff bullshit after bullshit. Great Tusk, on the other hand, it's nothing but boom, 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 knockoff, close combat, ice spinner. The move pool is the move pool of goats. You really don't need anything else. Even as Mega Horn and Play Rough, which you're not going to see on Great Tusk, but just the point that it has it, that's a problem. Rapid Spin, I understand this Mon's usage being so high when it is the best Rapid Spinner in the tier by far. Competition comes from what? Great Treads? No, not Great Treads. What's his name? Iron Treads. I said Great Treads and I immediately was like, it doesn't sound right actually. There's Corviknight as well, but obviously Corviknight gets hurt pretty badly by Gholdengo. Nothing is really doing what the Tusk is doing in this metagame. Like, this thing is just rock solid. Let me move my tier list a little bit to the right. Hold on. So that we can have more space. Perfect. We'll look at the top 5 first, and then we'll get to the rest. But anyway, Great Tusk at number 1. I mean, I understand. It makes complete sense. It does make complete sense. It's the best removal. Ground fighting. This is the first time we've ever had this type in 9 generations. And God, is it amazing. Right? This coverage is just unprecedentedly good. The only thing that's annoying for this is flying types, which is why I think when Pokemon Home comes out, this is not going to be that big of a problem. You know what I mean? Zapdos is going to be back. Tornadus is going to be back. That right there is huge. Shit, you could run Moltres if you want. Moltres completely owns Great Tusk unless it's running Stone Edge. And then if it's running Stone Edge, well, remember, it's just gonna miss. But yeah, I don't think that Great Tusk is going to be the big beast it is right now after Home comes out, because 53% is just really crazy. Even Chi-Yu, which was banned for being too broken, and it was quick banned, not even suspect tested because it was so obviously broken, didn't have this type of usage. I guess Tusk just fits on every team for the most part, because if you need a rocker, you might as well take Tusk because it can at least spin too. And who doesn't want a rapid spinner on their team? Gen 9 has conditioned everyone into being scared shitless of hazards. That is just... Or not Gen 9, sorry, Gen 8 has conditioned everybody to be scared shitless of hazards because heavy duty boots was on everything, and it was like, okay, now Stealth Rock is no longer an issue. So Rapid Spin Great Tusk is just, where else? Where else do you go for your rapid spinning needs? 300 speed is really damn good too, right? It's faster than Gholdengo, which is the next most used Pokemon, and it can smoke that thing with either an Earthquake or a knockoff and get out of the situation pretty much every time on the upper hand. Dragonite is walled by Great Tusk, walled quote unquote, but usually Great Tusk does body Dragonite pretty easily because Dragonite can't Terra, and then if Great Tusk has Ice Spinner, well then that thing is cooked. And then Valiant and Chien-Pao can obviously OHKO Great Tusk, but they obviously can't stay in and take a hit. So I understand Tusk being number 1. I really don't think anyone else should have had the honors of number 1. Even if Chien-Pao is the Mon being suspect tested for being broken, it's pretty incredible to see Great Tusk having 20% more. Like, this is, what the hell is this? Like, really, what the hell is this? Dragonite's at 21%, Iron Valiant's at 21%. That means that Great Tusk is used in 2.5x more battles than these two assholes. Like, that right there, I just don't know. Because I'm trying to think. Because obviously, obviously Great Tusk is not broken. It's not broken at all. It's a strong Pokemon. It's very good at what it does. But it can't be broken. It's not overbearing like that. It's not like, oh shit, he has a Great Tusk. Dude, oh no, call him for backup. It's about to sweep everybody. That's not what happens at Great Tusk. It's just a sturdy, consistent mon. It's at the top of the tier list. Let me see what the tier list is saying on Smogon's site. Yeah, it's in S rank with Chien and Gholdengo. Alright, understandable. Those are the top 3 anyway. So Great Tusk, congrats on your #1 spot. But I'm going to tell you something right now, folks. This mon, leave a like if you're no longer rocking with Great Tusk. Because I'm going to tell you this, the agency, we have moved on from the Tusk. After this, we've moved on from the Tusk. We love Great Tusk. However, having 53% usage, we just can't be with the regulars. You know, here at the agency, we be doing our own thing. We're trendsetters. You understand that? So, Great Tusk will no longer be used. Will it be more difficult for the agency to get up rocks and rapid spin them away? Yes. Yes, it will. But we'll figure it out with great determination. Alright, next. Gholdengo. Oh, and before I go further, let me talk about, there's a couple of tier list changes. We'll talk about it when we get to them because it's nothing too crazy. But Iron Hands is now UU, Palma is now UU, and Torkoal is now UU. So yeah, Sun massively fell off thanks to the Chi-Yu ban. That was pretty predictable though. Rain is way easier to use, which makes sense for Pelipper going up. Cyclozar being banned means that Orthworm is now the premier Shed Tailor, so that makes sense going up too. Espathar going up to OU. Hopefully Espathar gets banned soon. Magnezone going to UU. Good job. That's a top agent. And then all of these dudes went to RUL. Hold that. We'll talk about Iron Hands when we get to it at the end, but all these 3 Pokemon are pretty unremarkable in OU. Iron Hands is cool, like it's bulky, but I was the first one to call out a lot of y'all when you were saying stuff like, this is the new Melmetal. No, bro, this is not Schmelmetal. All right, but we'll talk about that later. Gholdengo at 43.68% usage. Bam. I like that. I do. So, Gholdengo is a Pokemon that I was talking about earlier in my video from yesterday. The most hated 6. Go check that out if you haven't already. Pretty good discussion video. But Gholdengo, despite its high usage, its great typing, its great stats, this is not a Pokemon that I would ever want banned, at least right now. Maybe when Pokemon Home comes out, we can see if anything changes. I don't expect it to, but I find that Gholdengo has a healthy role in this metagame, more Landers T-esque than some of the other more overbearing Pokemon such as Chien-Pao. That's how I feel about Gholdengo. 43% usage is still really, really high. Ideally, to me, no mon would have over like 30% usage, which I've just accepted that we play a game where mons have to have this type of usage. Because what are you going to do? You're going to ban Tusk, you're going to ban Landorus T in the previous generations, you'll lose a very important part of the metagame, and the metagame will probably fall apart as a result. Like, it'll be a lot less fun. Like, the reason these mons have such high usage, Great Tusk and Gholdengo, and it's such a leg up against the others. Because look at this. Chien, the mon being suspect tested, is still 10% lower. No, sorry, 11% lower than Gholdengo and 20% lower than Tusk, right? And that's the mon that's going to get banned. How is that not as good as these two? Because Great Tusk and Gholdengo are the goats of roll compression. They do everything and anything you need. Tusk is a physically defensive mon that both spins and gets up rocks. Very few Pokemon can do all that in one. Corviknight can do 2 of those rolls, but it can't get up rocks. That's a big deal. Gholdengo has 9 resistances, 3 immunities. That right there covers hella defensive capabilities. 133 special attack. Damn, I thought it was 131. 133. This thing is out of this world. 133 special attack. Amazing dual stab with Make It Rain and Shadow Ball. What is a ghost type's worst nightmare currently? It's stupid Garganacl with that Purifying Salt ability. Well, Gholdengo cooks Garg as long as Garg doesn't turn into a water type, so you don't have to worry about it. Gholdengo also has so many different sets it can run, which I think is a really big bonus on this Pokemon and a reason why it's at the top. Similar to Landorus T, you can run Nasty Plot, you can run Scarf. A lot of people do run Thunderwave Hex, which I personally don't like running that much, but I mean, if it gets the job done, then it gets the job done. I just think that if you're running something like Thunderwave, you're probably just going to get more mileage out of running Nasty Plot more often than not, because Gholdengo has good bulk. I have a couple teams where my Gholdengo is bulky as well. Let me find those. Yep, this right here. Nasty Plot, Balloon, Spadef, Gholdengo. Because, yeah, I mean, this thing's typing is great. With some Spadef, you can actually end up walling stuff like Iron Valiant and that kind of thing. Even if they had Shadow Ball, Gholdengo with Spadef is really tanky. It's able to eat that up. Physical defense isn't bad either. So, Gholdengo just has a really nice stat distribution, right? They made sure not to give it any attack because it's fully special attack invested. And the HP defense and special defense are just solid enough to where these resistances and immunities can come into play. And then 84 speed is good. It is slower than Great Tusk, which if it was faster than Tusk, it would probably be number 1. That's what I think. Because at the moment, Tusk always forces out Gholdengo. What is a Tusk on this team? Yup, Full Fizz Def, Terra Water. Ooh, the Floatzel, super counter. But yeah, Gholdengo, I'm a fan of this Pokemon. I am. Sometimes it's annoying to run into, but I've never felt, at least in the recent like couple weeks of playing, I've never felt like Gholdengo. I was like, damn it, this is just so unfair. This mon is so overpowered versus my team. Because if I felt like that, I would assume my team is pretty bad. I've seen a lot of people are going towards the Nasty Plot set over Choice Scarf lately. And even this is Trick Recover. This is a team I was using a lot with Specs Tito. I used it on stream a few times. Really awesome team. Shout out to my boy Agency, his own, for making this one. But we see a lot of Trick Recover now instead of Trick Focus Blast with Terra Fighting. Personally, I still think Trick Focus Blast, Terra Fighting is really good, especially when Chien is currently being suspect tested for being the best mon. And then also Kingambit, if you guys didn't know. That thing is slowly rising up. Top 7 in usage, which I don't think a lot of people expected. But yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to it. But yeah, I just want to say Terra Fighting Gholdengo is still very, very good. The resistances that the fighting type give you is great. And Gholdengo in general just has an epic defensive typing. So this thing being at 43% is pretty crazy. So this and Tusk together, they're basically in every single battle. Like, you're not going to find a battle that doesn't feature at least one of these, which we'll see how it happens. I think in the next month, it'll stay the same, probably, is what I think. Unless, like, some crazy new tech of HO is figured out that makes Great Tusk not good, which it won't happen because you can't be bad with access to 120 base power double stabs, rapid spin, knockoff, stealth rock, like all that. You just can't be bad with Great Tusk toolkit. It's way too good. Same with Gholdengo. So I do expect for the month of February that this will likely be the same. Let's talk about Chien-Pao the leopard, Chien-Pao leopard. Now let me tell you something about this. This guy is broken. He's broken. But I'm gonna tell you another thing. Even if he is too powerful for today's metagame, I try to think, well, if Chien-Pao gets banned, who's next on the chopping block? Because we don't have home yet. We don't have a lot of things to balance stuff out. At that point, if Chien-Pao goes, maybe they're just going to ban Roaring Moon and Valiant, because then the fastest thing to revenge kill those is now out the way. So I don't know, folks. I don't know. I'm really thinking about Chien-Pao a lot. I'm obviously going to get suspect test Rex to decide. 32.7% usage means that this thing literally took Chi-Yu's spot from the last tier shift. Which, I mean, it makes sense. They're similar Pokemon. They just spam the dark type move, crunch with Chien-Pao, and, you know, dark pulse with Chi-Yu. And then, you know, you go for your secondary fire move or ice type move, whatever the case is. Point being, Chien-Pao is very annoying to play in today's metagame. I get it. 135 speed makes this thing seem like a NASCAR, even when they're running adamant. This set should be choice banned, actually. Let me change it back to what it was, but yeah. Let me see here. I'm trying to think if there's any way Chien-Pao would not get banned. I think it's actually pretty 50-50. It's not like Chi-Yu, where it's so clearly, this mon is so broken. I think right now it's 50-50, but I do think if I had to do a gut vote right now, I would probably say ban Chien-Pao, because I think it's just a little too overpowered for the metagame. Probably does end up getting banned if you had to put a decision on it, because I think right now in current metagame, it just kills everything, right? We look at the tier list, the almighty tier list, which will always tell us, oops, not this, what we need to know. Where is it? Here we go. Look at the almighty tier list, which will tell us what you need to know. Terra Dark Choice Banded. Chien-Pao seems to really just clip everything. There's not really much you can do about that. You just have to get owned, right? Every single Pokemon in the metagame gets cooked by Terra Dark Chien-Pao, which is the same thing as Chi-Yu. That thing would just terrestrialize into one of its stab types and beat you. So I think we're going to end up going down kind of this slope of just ban these things. But then again, Chien-Pao and Chi-Yu are kind of like egregious examples, right? Because look at the abilities. The ability itself is just stupid. Sword of Ruin, right? So this thing automatically gets a boost. Then Choice Band plus Terra. Chi-Yu was the only other mon that could do this. That could have this type of like super buff, like all these boosts put together. It was the only other one that could do that. So I don't think it's that big of a deal if Chien-Pao gets banned, because I don't think Iron Valiant and the rest can really emulate this type of power, because they don't have the ability. Even Dragapult, it cannot emulate what Chien-Pao is doing. This thing with the ability, the move pool, is just the GOAT. That's why he's the GOAT. We'll see with Chien. It's a good spot at number 3. I do predict its ban to be coming soon. Dragonite. Dragonite, another mon featured in yesterday's video. Yup, the best set is just the normal E-speeding set. You really don't got to worry about anything else when you're playing against a Dragonite, because this alone is a big enough worry. Honestly, you should be happy if you run in the Dragonite and it's not DD E-speed Terra normal, because every time this set comes in, I'm shitting my pants. Unless I have an Iron Defense Corviknight. That's right, it can only be Iron Defense, because with just my luck, it's going to be Dragon Dance Roost and cook up my Corv. So make sure you have an Iron Defense Corv if you're weak to Dragonite, because that U-turn shit is not going to win. Alright, you need that Iron Defense Body Pressed Roost Defog. Stay frosty, my friends. Now, Dragonite, I mean, it just does the same thing every time, but it's one of the best offense Pokemon you can ask for, and it's one of the best anti-offense Pokemon you can ask for, which I really like. Look at this Jug Rain, for example. This team could get packed up by a D-Knight quite easily. Yes, Tauros is a pretty sturdy counter with Bulk Up Protect, but it's not hard to chip that thing down at all. As for the rest of these Pokemon, I get a DD on Pelipper, I get a DD on Floatzel if it's not locked into Ice Spinner. If I have my multi-scale, I can also set up on Jugulus. Amoonguss, if I, it's already sports something else, I can set up on that thing just one time and then knock it out. Treads as well, I can set up on that thing. So it's not too bad versus the majority of offensive styles. It's really just Iron Defense Corviknight in my book that really annoys this Pokemon. And I guess Dondozo and whatnot, but I find Dondozo to be really easy to take advantage of. So that being said, Dragonite is a great Pokemon. It definitely deserves its spot at number 4 because everyone just throws it on whatever team. There's not really much else to say. It'll probably continue being in the top 10, if not top 5, just because this is an easy mon to use and one of the best Terra candidates. Dragonite sometimes runs a defensive spread. I've seen it with Hurricane and Body Press, but it all pales in comparison to this because this is just an easy one-click win stop. Alright, so next up we have Iron Valiant, a Pokemon that is a bit more varied than Dragonite in its sets. We do see quite a lot of different stuff with this, so let me pull up one of my recent Iron Valiant teams. Let's see. Alright, so this one was Life Orb Calm Mind under the terrain of Pincurchin. This is when it was featured on the team that got number 1. That was pretty epic. This was the set that we were seeing for a very long time in early meta. Booster Energy, 4 attack, Shadow Ball, Close Combat, Mixed. This set was putting in insane amounts of work. We've seen Specs a lot as well. Where's my team with Specs? Scarf. So basically, this is basically what Specs runs, but this is a Scarf instead. But Iron Valiant is a fantastic Scarfer because 364 speed with a Scarf on it, you're faster than a lot of stuff, even stuff that goes +2. So it's really just great. I mean, it's great with all choice items. When I had it on the Belly Bolt team that my boy Blymax gave me, his was choice banded, and this thing even has a higher attack than special attack. People just don't be giving it the respect it deserves because it's way easier to click Moonblast and spam that than it is to spam these moves. That being said though, Iron Valiant has too many different sets it can run. Booster Energy Calm Mind, Booster Energy Swords Dance, all the different types of choice sets. I love this Pokemon. It's very, very fun. It feels like a Mega Evolution to me. I don't know if that makes sense, but it definitely feels the closest to like a Mega Pokemon in my eyes, just because the typing is really insane. The coverage is awesome. It can hit on both the physical side and the special side. We don't really have mixed attackers anymore. And then, yeah, Booster Energy, puts you at insane amounts of speed. You can pair it up with Pincurchin, so you have the truly evil Iron Valiant, aka the 500 special attack, 500 speed, Specs Valiant under electric terrain. That's an evil tech. Valiant just has so many different sets, so I do kind of enjoy it in that sense. I find it really hard to go up against. I really am scared every time I play this mon. Like, it's as much as Chien-Pao, this thing always has me shitting my pants, because you never know what it's going to run. Even with 120 special attack, it still hits really damn hard with, what's the word? Thunderbolts, Moonblasts, all that stuff. Like, the coverage is fantastic. It also beats a lot of the common, specially defensive Pokemon right now, like Ting-Lu, Toxapex. It can break through those really easily. And then Gholdengo is usually the best counter, but if it has Shadow Ball, then it can pack up Gholdengo. Because most Gholdengos are not specially defensive Calm or anything like that. They're just offensive straight up. So Shadow Ball is always doing 60% from an unboosted Valiant. And if that's Specs, well then it's going to do damn near, 90% to Gholdengo. Iron Valiant is a great mon. I love it in this metagame. I don't think it's going to be broken unless hella shit gets banned. Maybe if Chien-Pao gets banned, it might, there might be discussion of it being overpowered, but I really doubt it. Just because Gholdengo will always be able to tank one, even a Specs hit. And then stuff like Volcarona will always be able to smoke Iron Valiant too. Also, everything Terras into a fairy type in this metagame, like Garg, so it can just do that versus Valiant. I don't think Valiant is going to be broken even with Chien-Pao's ban. We'll see, though. We'll see. Because you never know how Chien's going to shake up the metagame. It is the fastest, easiest to spam Pokemon right now. And that is a really important role in the metagame. Just the easy to spam Pokemon. That's why Chi-Yu was so high in usage. It's why Chien is now so high in usage. And then after the Chien decision, if it does end up getting banned, then we'll have a new Pokemon that just ends up getting spammed. And that might just be Iron Valiant, Terra Fairying, and, you know, just doing that. Just spamming Moonblast all over the place. So with that, that is our top 5. Pretty strong top 5. Deserving, of course. Let us move into the top 10. Okay. So, here we have it, folks. The top 10. Garganacl, Kingambit, Rotom, Ting-Lu, and Corviknight. So let's talk about Garg. Garg, another bastard of a Pokemon. I hate this thing. I hate playing this Pokemon. It's so annoying. It's probably the most annoying defensive Pokemon to ever live. I really think that. You know, Toxapex, it's annoying, right? But at least when Toxapex switched out, it was over. It was Jover. This guy hits you with a Salt Cure, leaves the battle, continues to do chip damage to you, refuses to explain. It is so nerve-wracking for Garganacl to come in to every battle unscathed, Terra into a water or fairy type, wall all Pokemon in the history of Pokemon, and then just sit around and Salt Cure, Protect, get up Stealth Rock on every single removal known to man. Great Tusk should beat this one-on-one, but what really happens, folks? Salt Cure, Protect, Salt Cure, Protect. Oh, you're out of moves. GG, little guy. Salt Cure should not have 24 PP either. This Mon is bullshit. I hate this thing. As for whether it's broken or not, I don't know. I don't know, but I find it to be very unpleasant to go against. This is not an agency pick. Let me tell you, you might see me running a Garganacl here and there, but I can admit right here and now that this is the evil Mon for the last decade. This Mon right here is pure evil. That is my opinion on it. Number 6, 20% usage, it makes sense. It just checks so much shit. It's also Dragapult's best counter, which is not even top 10 right now, which just goes to show how crazy the power creep was, right? Because Dragapult was top 10 last month during those usage statistics, and now what? It doesn't even get to chill up in the top 10. Look at the tier list. We got Pult right here in A+ rank. So what changed? What changed? What happened? How did Pult not even make it to the top? Too many guys are doing. They came to Pult City, started eating this food, started making better tracks. They were the hottest in the city. Dragapult fell off as a result. Nothing could couldn't do anything about it. Garganacl runs the show now. Dragapult, accept it. 20.87% usage is pretty crazy though. 1 in 5 teams. I don't know about all that. I don't know if Garg should be doing numbers like that. It's an annoying Pokemon though. It might get banned down the road. I really wouldn't be surprised. So, I mean, there's not much to talk about with Garg. It does the same thing in every game. Salt Cures you. I think Protect, Stealth Rock is the hardest set to go up against. But a lot of teams have started adapting by running Covert Cloak. Recently, I've been using this set that I got from my boy, Curse Terra Water, because you do beat Covert Cloak Gholdengo with this. You just turn into a water type, and then they can't do shit to you because you resist both Make It Rain and then Shadow Ball thanks to the ability. And then Earthquake cooks Gholdengo if it stays as a steel type, so you don't really have to worry about that. And then, of course, Curse is making you stronger because of +1 attack. So, altogether, I like this Garg set. It's very annoying. Garg can do a lot of things. I still feel like Garg is not fully explored. Just, you always have to run Salt Cure Recover, but you can do a lot of other stuff with it. You know, Block is a really annoying set, too. We'll see what happens. This thing definitely could be broken down the line because of, I mean, Pokemon are running an entire item dedicated to this. As it stands, Covert Cloak is good for Garganacl, and it's good for Shaman Sky when Shaman Sky is released. I bet y'all didn't think about that one. Boom! Left you thinking. Left you thinking. Yes, it's true. Covert Cloak is the Shaman Sky counter. Beats Air Slash and Seed Flare. Think about that, little bro. Alright, so let's keep it pushing. Oh, no, not my great almighty tier list. Number 7. Kingambit. We love Gambito at the agency. You guys know that. We love Gambito. I'm very happy to see it in the top 10. It's a really hard Pokemon to go up against. Another one of those Pokemon like Iron Valiant and Chien-Pao. When I see it, I'm shitting my pants. Even with a great Tusk, it's a scary ass Pokemon because it always tears into a fairy type or a flying type, or even sometimes the Terra Dark type. This set right here is super evil. Obviously, this one's brave because it's on a Trick Room team, but the gist of it is like the same. Max attack, adamant, black glasses, Terra type dark. Basically, you want your Sucker Punch to be so strong at +2 with 5 dead homies that it could probably take out Jupiter with 1 +2 hit. That's basically what this is trying to do. Talk about multipliers on this. Supreme Overlord puts you at 1.5x. Black Glasses, another 1.2x. Terra type, a 2x instead of a 1.5x from Stab. You add them all up, what do you have? Thanos, bitch. Boom, 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 everybody's dead. I love Kingambit. It's a very easy Pokemon to use. Defensively, it's fantastic because I don't think Mons were meant to have 100 HP, 120 defense, and 85 Spadef while also having this type of attack stat. Katao Cleave is a whatever move. It's just the best thing we can go for with this. But I have lost to a low kick Kingambit before, which if Kingambit continues to go up in usage, then I would expect low kick as well to go up in usage. Because one time I got smoked by that, and you don't always need Katao Cleave, except for, I don't know, like Rotom. Whatever. Katao Cleave is pretty good though, so we'll see. Either way, Gambit is just a mon that it fits on so many teams. You can see I have it on so many too. This is a special defensive version that I really, really love. And it still has hella attack, EVs, and Adamus, so it doesn't feel weak by any means. Turns into a flying type, and then you do not have to worry about shit. You do not have to worry about shit. Once you're a flying type, Great Tusk is never doing anything to you. Even with Ice Spinner, it can't do much to you. Also, Toxapex no longer has Scald in the Generation 9 metagame, so what's it gonna do? It's just gonna keep scalding you. I mean, not scalding you, it's just gonna keep surfing you, and that does like 15%. So Gambit just sits there forever. I've also was using Stealth Rock Gambit on this team, and that was just bringing me a lot of success. Gambit is really good at forcing Pokemon out. The #1 Magic Bounce Pokemon at the moment is Hatterene, and nobody in their right mind is going to bring in a Hatterene on the god Kingambit. So all around, I give Kingambit 5 agency claps out of 5. This mon is just amazing. Compared to the rest of the tier list, it's just a good mon. I do feel like a lot of the time it does need to Terra to get the most mileage, but honestly, that's fine. It's still a very good mon for what it does. I really do like the Swords Dance set the most. I can't really say that the Stealth Rock set is as good as this, or any other set for that matter is as good as the Swords Dance set. And I have not used Terra Dark enough with the super overcharged Sucker Punch to really comment on it. I'm sure it's an amazing set, but I do really love the defensive Terra that Kingambit gets with Fairy and Flying, and I'm probably always going to rep that over Terra Dark. So Kingambit, you are amazing. Congratulations, sir, for making it to the top 10 for February. Round of applause, agency claps for this guy. Now Rotom-Wash at number 8. Somehow this annoying piece of shit always pulls up back to the top of the metagame. Stop. It's time to stop. Why must you return every damn time? So this joint is top 8. I'm really not too surprised because Rotom always finds itself back in the metagame. Right now, the majority of these are physically defensive. I'm running a Scarf one here just for support. Let me see some of the other Rotoms I was running. Extra green chain. Ooh, another Scarf one. Was I running Scarf for the most part? This one was defensive, right? Protect, Will-O-Wisp. This is a set that still gets used a lot because it's able to check Dragonite pretty well. Even if Dragonite does Terrastalize into a normal type, E-Speed does not do that much to Rotom, and Rotom is almost always going to get off the Will-O-Wisp. And Rotom can always Terra into a Steel type, which makes this thing such a bitch to take down, especially because it has Levitate, right? Rotom is just one of those Pokemon that sticks around forever and annoys everything. It's also able to chip away at Ting-Lu. It smokes Great Tusk, smokes Iron Treads, Corviknight. All the hazard removals really get smoked by Rotom-Wash, which is why I love it as a partner for Ting-Lu especially. Top 10 though, well, I must say this. People love their support Pokemon. They love them. They love them like anything. They love having that Volt Switcher to go around and do all the dirty work for them because they don't like trying too hard. And you know what? I respect it. I respect it. We look at the tier list right here. Is Rotom worthy of being top 8? I mean, it checks a lot of stuff. It can burn Chien. It can take a hit from Gholdengo, Volt Switch out. Garg, you can't switch into Garg, but you can always trick Garg, I guess. Your Scarf. Or Garg is honestly pretty good versus Rotom. I wouldn't consider Rotom a really sturdy check to Garganacl at all. You look in A rank, I mean, Rotom just does what it always does. It cripples something with Trick, Thunder Wave, or Will-O-Wisp, and then it Volt Switches out for the remainder of the game, and you utilize its great defensive typing to switch into Earthquakes, Corviknights, Dondozos. You know, it's just a very basic sort of Pokemon. I do like Hydro Pump in the current meta, though, just because, you know, Tusk is at the top, Dirge exists too, and it's just a strong move in general. Like, I had one game where I had a Rotom-Wash, right? And it was max special attack Scarf. And the dude had an Iron Valiant at like 90%. My Hydro Pump straight up O-code because Iron Valiant's special defense is garbage and Rotom-Wash's special attack is actually quite decent at 105. And again, Hydro's not a weak move. It's 110 base power. It hits pretty tough. So I like Rotom-Wash. It's good where it is. Top 8 is pretty crazy though. So shout outs to him. We got to give bro a shout out because that is really some good work it's done to be top 8. So good job, Rotom-Wash. You've definitely upgraded yourself from last month. Ting-Lu is up the next at number 999. Ting-Lu, you know, I honestly didn't expect this thing to be top 10. Not that it's not deserving of top 10 because it is. It's a fantastic mon. I just didn't, I don't know. I feel like I see so much great Tusk, Clodsire, treads that I have just forgot about Ting-Lu. But maybe it's me who's forgot. In the end of the day, this is still probably the most consistent spiker in the game. This is the most run Ting-Lu set. I actually recently in tournament saw a set. It was Terra Ghost Ting-Lu with double hazards and rest, and it basically completely stomped out the opposing Tusk for the entire game because he was full physically defensive. So he got up his hazards, the dude brought in his great Tusk, the guy then turned his Ting-Lu into the Terra Ghost type, and at that point it was over. The EQ was doing like 19% to Ting-Lu, and he knocked off its leftovers, but it didn't matter. The Ting-Lu just kept resting up over and over again with Terra Ghost. The dude could never spin with his Tusk, and at that point, Ting-Lu just won because the hazards were up and the other guy lost. Because if you have 3 spikes and Stealth Rock against you, you're not going to win if you can't remove them. Like that, more often than not, you're just not going to win that battle. That's too difficult of a situation to be in. But yeah, Ting-Lu, the most GOAT Pokemon ever. Defensively, this is just out of this world. This thing came to Tyranitar City, ate all of his food, became the big dog, completely destroyed Tyranitar's niche as the defensive dark type that gets up rocks, checks Dragapult, special attackers, all that stuff. Sorry, bro. Not to say that Tyranitar, you know, is not good in its own way. Tyranitar is good for taking on Chi-Yu, who is now banned, and it checks Armor Rouge better than Ting-Lu, so you can actually keep that in mind. I'm not even being sarcastic. It does. Actually, no, it doesn't. It gets Aura Sphered by Armor Rouge. I guess they're both bad at taking on the GOAT Armor Rouge, which I'll talk about later, an underrated Pokemon in today's metagame. But anyways, Ting-Lu just does its job very well. Gets up the hazards. Ruination is a great move as well, so that you do 50% on the switch to Tusk. This mon is just always, he's an OG. He's a total OG. Let me see what other sets I had. I did run Choice Banded on that one team. That was very fun. Yeah, see, so for the most part, I don't even run dual hazards. I run Earthquake, Spikes, Whirlwind, Ruination. I like pairing it with another Stealth Rocking Pokemon, just so there's not too much pressure on Ting-Lu to get up all those hazards every single time. Alright, where's my Choice Banded Ting-Lu? Where is that team? Oh no, where is it? Where's my Banded Lu? I can't find it. Oh my lord. This is so sad, folks. This is a heartbreaker. This is a heartbreaker. Anyways, Banded Ting-Lu, do not sleep. This thing does have 110 base attack. Goes to 350 with an Adamant Nature. Has amazing physical moves to go for. Earthquake, Throat Chop, Stone Edge, Zen Headbutt. Need I say more? Give it a whirl. You know what? I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at just how strong Choice Band Ting-Lu is. For example, Choice Banded Earthquake one-hit KOs Iron Valiant from 100%. I bet you didn't expect that. So my boy Ting-Lu, give him some respect. It can do a lot more than just get up these hazards. As for being top 10, I totally get it. You deserve it. Corv is next. Corv just under Ting-Lu. They basically have neck and neck usage, and that concludes our top 10. So Corv being at 17% is pretty high, I'm going to be honest. I think it might just be there because it's the best check for Great Tusk. It's literally, if Tusk isn't running CC, Corv is always a pretty reliable way to get around it. You can bring it in, you can defog those rocks away. Obviously, you can't defog in a Gholdengo, which is why I'm really surprised that Corv even has this high-ass usage, because if Gold is on damn near 44% of teams, how can Corviknight be that good? But whatever. I mean, Corv does check a lot of stuff, right? It checks Kingambit really well with Body Press, checks Tusk, it checks all non-Choice Banded Chien-Paos. It can beat Dragonite with Iron Defense Body Press as well. So as far as all these really annoying physical attackers go, Corv does a really amazing job at taking care of that. Alright folks, so now that we've finished our top 10, let's get into the rest of the Pokemon. The 11 through 40. The Pokemon that, you know, they're powerful in their own way, but they're not powerful enough to have the full size sprite plus the percentage usage, because they're not popping like that. But nevertheless, let's talk about them. Oh, 11 through 37, not even 11 through 40. Looks like a couple Pokemon couldn't make it into the usage this time. Tough. So it looks like OU is 37 Mons this rotation. Let's talk about 11 through 21st, and we'll go through there. And yeah, anyways, first off, we got Dragapult. Dragapult not being top 10 is just crazy to me. Just crazy. It was top 10 in last month's tier list. In January, I think Usage had it in the top 10 very solidly. I think it was even top 5. So to see Pult now completely axed from the top 10, just barely looking in at number 11, can't even get in the club. It's really quite sad to see. Let me look at all my Dragapult teams, because Dragapult is still one of those mons you can put on any team. So we have the classic specs. This is Terra Fire, I guess, for the stronger Flamethrower, but I like running both Terra Ghost and Terra Dragon if I'm running specs. What else do we have here? That's National Dex. Let me go to OU. Dragapult, Dragapult, Dragapult. Yup, classic specs. Ominous Ghost. Very good. I have a couple that are Dragon Darts, Hex, Will-O-Wisp. So let me find that set, because that's also a really good set that we cannot ignore by any means. Choice Band, another amazing set with Terra Blast, Ghost. Right, in the past, in Generation 8, we used to see Banded Dragapult, but it never had a good Ghost move to abuse with Choice Band. Because obviously Phantom Force is not a move you want to lock yourself into, because you got to predict super well with that. Now, you can just Terra Blast, turn into a Ghost type, and you have a super duper strong attack. This is something you can spam versus almost everything, because Ghost is a really good neutral coverage. You're able to do crazy stuff like 2-hit KO Corviknight, and this thing just hits like a truck. Still faster than Chien-Pao, which you can get rid of with either a U-turn or a Dragon Darts. So banded specs, both of these are just really solid choiced attackers. So to see this thing not even be in the top 10 again is crazy surprising for me. I understand that a lot of the top 10 this time around do deal with it really well. If you look at 1 through 5, they don't exactly beat Dragapult 1v1, but look at 6 through 10. Garg, Kingambit, Ting-Lu, these are all really, really solid when it comes down to it. Checking Dragapult, they do a really good, consistent job of it for the duration of the battle. Before, back in Generation 8, we didn't really have anything that was a full-on repeated switch into Dragapult, because the best counters you have were like Spadef Hippo and some Clefables, but Dragapult would just special defense, drop a Shadow Ball, and then you lose. That's how it always happens. Now, it looks like Dragapult doesn't even get the chance, because Garg has to be a real big reason that Pult has just fallen off. It always has to Draco into Garg, and if Garg turns into a Fairy type, then it's over for Pult. Can't hit it with Ghost moves because of Purifying Salt, can't hit it with Dragon moves because it's a Fairy. So, in general, Garg has really made Pult's life hell. Pult can't do anything about Garg. Can't go for Will-O-Wisp, can't Dragon Dance past it because you're just gonna get Salt cured. It's very difficult for Pult right now in the current meta to get around the Garganacl outbreak. So I guess in a sense it kind of does make sense that it's gone down in usage, that it's not even top 10. But damn, you know, you would never expect to see the fastest Pokemon in the meta too. Yeah, because it's 421 speed. This not being top 10, I guess people have just decided that, you know, Chen gets the job done. Where is my Dragapults that are Wisp? Do I even have any of those anymore? What the hell? This one's got to be Wisp. Yup, Hex, Draco, Wisp, U-turn, or you can run Dragon Darts, whichever one you want to run. This is also a great set. This has Terra Dragon. I also like Terra Fairy because I like baiting in the Dragon type moves or the Dark type moves that Dragapult is likely to bait in with the regular typing. And you turn into a Fairy type and you completely own stuff like Chien-Pao or, you know, Great Tusk knockoff, whatever the case might be. It works out very well with Terra Fairy. So Dragapult will always be one of the best Pokemon in the meta. I'll never go up against Dragapult and think, phew, thank God it has Pult, because the thing is annoying. Look at this team that got number 1, the Earthworm offense. Pult can come in here and just smoke everything with Dragon Darts, Shadow Ball, either if it's Banded or Specs. This team is pretty decent versus Pult, all things considered, because it has Garganacl. But if it's Banded Dragon Darts, Pult, Garg's not that great of a switch-in, and you can't go Gholdengo, because what if it goes for Terra Blast Ghost? So you can never count Pult out. It'll always be a threat no matter what. Yes, the rise of stuff like Garg, Ting-Lu, Kingambit will always be an issue, but I would not be surprised to see Pult go back into the top 10, especially if Chien-Pao gets banned. If Chien-Pao gets banned, then no question, Pult's going back up. That's just how it works. Alright, next up we have Volcarona. Now, Volcarona was on my video from yesterday, the Sinister 6, the most hated 6. Volk is absolutely one of the best Pokemon in the metagame. Being number 12 is fine. I don't think people like using Volk that much just because you have to run this Quiver Dance, Flamethrower, Wisp, Morning Sun. It's like boring to bring this in. You have to Wisp around, switch out, come back later, etc, etc. Makes for longer games. I think people just like more immediate reward, so they like using just, you know, Roaring Moon, etc, etc. Volk is not some Pokemon that takes hella skill in the current metagame. I would compare this to a Spathra because this shit really is just so easy to run. You use it with its good defensive typing. It's extremely hard to beat because of Terrastalize, either turning into a steel type so that it no longer is weak to toxic, turning into a grass type with the boosted Giga Drain, or really just whatever. I've even ran into a Terra Water Volcarona before, and then I had a Rain team and I got owned as a result because he turned into a water type. I couldn't do shit. Volk's defensive typing in general with Bug Fire is great because you're able to take on Iron Valiant. Most of the time, you're going to see a physically defensive Volk. This is the spread that my boy gave me on his team. Makes for a very physically defensive Volk. I believe Chien-Pao Crunch, if it's not banded, does not even 2-hit KO. So that thing's just going to end up burning itself. Then Gholdengo, you can switch in on that thing. Shadow Balls take less than half. Personally, like I said in yesterday's vid, I like to go with more of a speedy Volk myself. I understand that having good Fizz Def is great for, you know, spreading around the burns, getting the good setup, taking hits. But I really like having 301 speed and the rest in defense. Now, yes, you do lose quite a bit of physical defense, but being at 301 speed makes you faster than Great Tusk, which I think is huge, especially if Great Tusk now has 53% usage like we're talking about. I honestly think that if you're using Will-O-Wisp Volcarona, you cannot go bold. Just go max speed. Wisp the Great the Great Tuxedo. Wisp it. You can also be faster than Gholdengo with this set, so I mean you still take the same amount from Shadow Ball because you didn't have special defense EVs to begin with, but at least now, you know, you can just recover it off. And if Gholdengo Nasty Plots, you're not slower and at an immediate risk of anything. Volk will always be one of the best Pokemon in the meta. Terra is a big helper of this thing too. There's two sets. There's this, and then literally Giga Drain over Wisp with Terra Grass. Either one is really solid in today's meta. Like, look at this team I'm running here. If I run into a Volcarona, I'm probably thinking, okay, I hope it's Will-O-Wisp. And if it's not Will-O-Wisp and it's this set, Giga Drain, well, I lose. Like, I literally lose. This isn't a bad team. My boy went 34-2 and got the Suspect Rex already for Chien. This is a very standard, good-looking team. But yeah, it just depends on the Volk you run into. That's why Volk, in my opinion, is one of the most unfair Pokemon. Because it really, the things that beat Will-O-Wisp completely lose to Terra Grass and vice versa. However, there's still always going to be some Pokemon that just beat Volk every day. Skeledirge packs that up, you know. Volk is also a Pokemon that if you do want to sweep with it every time, you do have to have a lot of support. Should that be, you know, other status Pokemon on your team, Pokemon that, you know, are able to take on Skeledirge and other unaware Mons. Whatever the case is, Volk is really good. But I definitely understand why it's 12th in usage. I think it's always going to stay in top 15, at least for now until Pokemon Home comes out and Heatran comes out. Because people said, oh, when Heatran comes out, Volk's going to be better. No, it's literally going to be worse. Because even if Volk can run, you know, Terra Blast Ground, that shit is whatever. You want the other moves more. Trust me on that. Terra Blast Ground, okay, so run your Fiery Dance, Terra Blast Ground set. My Dragonite's coming in to get plus 6,000. And then my Roaring Moon is coming in right after to get plus 8,000. Because you can't have Fiery Dance, you know, Terra Ground, Terra Blast, also Will-O-Wisp, also Quiver Dance, also Root. You can't have all that shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how Mons is. You can only pick a few moves. So, Volk, we'll see. But when Home comes out, it'll probably drop down a bit more. Glimmora, Glime Nation. I like Glimmora. It's a good Pokemon. A good Pokemon. I use Scarf quite a bit. Focus Sash. I mean, it just does the same thing it always does. Gets up the hazards. Has that annoying ability. I'm honestly surprised to see this thing still so high up in usage. 13 is quite epic for this Mon. They should be proud. They should honestly be really proud. This is still the best set in my opinion. Just straight up Sashed, Terra Grass, Energy Ball. Get your rocks up. Mortal Spin if you need to. And then Terra Grass, Energy Ball to Oko, stupid ass Great Tusk. This one doesn't have stab, which is kind of crazy. I really do like having Power Gem just as a, you know, catch-all. But you need Earth Power so that Gholdengo and Kingambit don't come in for free. Last thing you want is a Glimmora that gets set up on by Kingambit. I've had that happen. And it was terrible. I was thinking, damn, I really can't switch. Then that Kingambit was at plus 4, and, well, it was the end of me. It was the end of me. Glimmora being 13th, though, I think it's pretty valid. I would agree with that. Let me see some of the other Pokemon that I'm looking at. Let me see where they rank it in the tier list. Glimmora's in the A- rank, which is crazy, right? So you see a little viability rank disparity between that and the actual usage. If Glimmora is number 13th, but here it's just listed below so many Pokemon that are barely even used. Like, I bet Ace is not used that much, if I had to guess, in these usage stats. Let me see. I bet Ace... Oh, see, Ace is 17th. Okay. So I wouldn't expect Ace to be over Glimmora at all. I feel like I see a lot of people doing work with Glimmora. I don't see anybody bringing Ace for fun like that. What else? Yeah, it's above stuff like Roaring Moon. Wow. That is really crazy. Roaring Moon is not even in the top 20. Oh my god. That brother is starving. Number 22? Dirge number 20. Oh my god, these usage stats are fucked up. Anyways, Glimmora being 13th. It's a great Pokemon. It's always going to stay OU because this hazard set thing is just amazing. You know, we've used so many Stealth Rock plus Spikers, Suicide Leads over the generations, right? There's always been this type of super hyper offense. What Glimmora does with its ability, the move Mortal Spin, and its special attack, nobody can do what Glimmora does. Like, this is a one-of-a-kind Pokemon, and for that reason, it's always going to be OU. Like, this is very clearly this is a one-of-a-kind Pokemon, right? Look at the ability. Look at the typing, look at the stats, the coverage, the fact that it gets all the hazards at once. It's an amazing Pokemon. It's very hard to beat, and if you fuck up one turn versus Glimmora, it can be very tilting. Like if you're thinking, okay, he has a Glimmora, let me make sure I don't go for any attack against it that would let the T-Spikes go up, and then you start thinking all this stuff, and you just get so scared of that Glimmora activating its, whatever the shit's called, what is it called? Toxic Debris, or it getting up Stealth Rock Spikes, or Mortal Spinning, poisoning you. Playing around Glimmora can be a very challenging battle. So I do appreciate it being at 13th. We'll see. Hatterene at number 14. Seems like people really do like that anti-hazard stuff. So it looks like they're running Hatterene as a means for dealing with, what? Great Tusk? Except not really. It's not really good at that at all. Because, I mean, Hatterene's HP is so bad, which is a reason why I think it's a bit overrated to be here at 14th. Look at the tier list itself, and they'll probably have it in A, right? Yeah, it's an A. But I mean the viability rankings. But I don't know. Like, I like Hatterene, right? It's great to have this thing to switch it into Ting-Lu, Corviknight, whatever. But the HP really does suck. I hate switching this thing into Great Tusk. I get knocked off on the switch. Now the next time Great Tusk comes in, I know that I can't even reliably stop Stealth Rock from going up. Because if they Earthquake on the switch to me, I'm cooked. Yes, the defense is pretty decent with 317, but again, this 57 HP is so fucking bad that it's just not doing any favors for you. I've had Hatterene come in and take like 50 from Rotom Hydro Pump and stuff like that. It's just a mon that is not as bulky as it looks. Of course, when you get up the Calm Minds, it can turn into a total sweeper beast that you're just not able to really check, but I don't know. It depends. See, there's a lot of different ways to go. Back when Sun was used more, RIP Torkoal, who's now UU, but back when Sun was used, Hatterene was used with the eject button, you know, keep the hazards off. Nuzzle is a great support move as well. I personally like Calm Mind the most. I don't like Nuzzle that much. It's just whatever. I don't care about paralyzing shit. Calm Mind Nuzzle is alright, but I like Mystical Fire myself. Just, how do I explain it? Like, you can paralyze Gholdengo with Nuzzle, right? So that's not bad at all. And Nuzzle is a good all-purpose. But I will always like having the ability to Mystical Fire on the Switch. Because one, Mystical Fire helps versus other Hatterene. Because you drop their special attack on the Switch. And it's just a good neutral move versus them. And then two, it also hits Corviknight really hard. I don't want to paralyze Corviknight. Because then it's just going to U-turn out on me. I want a Mystical Fire so they're forced to roost. Because if I have Nuzzle, then Corv can just come in, U-turn out, and go to the appropriate Mon. Maybe they don't have the appropriate Mon. Because a +2 Hatterene is pretty scary. But regardless, I personally like Mystical Fire more. You can run Trick Room as well. You can run Eject Button, all that stuff. But Calm Mind's always going to be the best set with a physically defensive spread. I will say this. I think people are sleeping on a max special attack Hatterene. Not Trick Room, perhaps. But like maybe like a Healing Wish, like a Nuzzle. I don't know. But max special attack Hatterene is something that people are not really tapped into. And I think it can be... I can think it could be a really big threat, at least in current meta. Because, I mean, this thing hits 408, as you can see, with Max Modest. It OHKOs a lot of shit. And that Draining Kiss hits way, way harder when you got the Max Special Attack. Alright, 15th, Claudacious. First of all, Claudacious is better than Hatterene, so I don't know why it's below it, but it's fine. Claude is a Pokemon that I've come to love, better than Blissey, that Muddy Cup. Water Absorb Unaware, either or is really good. Personally, I would say that Unaware is more often than not the way to go with Terra Dark. This way you always destroy a Espathra, because even if a Espathra turns into a Fairy type, the Stab, Dazzling Gleam from them is not going to do shit. And then because you're a Dark type, of course, you're immune to stored power. So I do like Terra Dark Clodsire as a amazing Espathra check. And just in general, Claude always does its job of taking on the Pokemon I needed to take on. Volcarona, very annoying setup sweeper. Completely goobed by Clodsire. I come in, I set up all the spikes, go ahead and burn me. I still beat you. Like, it's fine. Yeah, like I'm gonna toxic you no matter what. You want to tear into the steel type? That's fine. I'll figure it out. I got a Garg in the back here on this team. Of course, that's just one example, but I find Claude pretty easy to put on these bulky offensive teams. Usually you just pair it with Great Tusk, Corviknight, go from there. And I mean, yeah, it's always really running the same thing. Recover Toxic EQ, last move being either Spikes or Stealth Rock. You want to have Leftovers or Black Sludge. Leftovers is likely superior because you're going to be Terastallizing, and then you don't want Black Sludge to hurt you. And as I said before, Unaware is just better than Water Absorb. Water Absorb is not bad. Like versus a Rain team, you're going to be super happy. But I mean, like past that, I just don't know. I just don't know. I don't think it's that good. I do want to bring up the tier list though, so we can see how Clodsire does compare to some of these other Pokemon. If you look at most of the special attackers in the game, they don't really have a way to break through Claude if it's unaware, right? Gholdengo has to be on a balloon, and Gholdengo can get +6, but Claude is still going to get up all the spikes on you, and then you have to get the turn right as they switch their Claude out. So if Gholdengo is not on a balloon, or it doesn't like, I don't know. There's actually no way for Gholdengo to beat Claude unless it's on a balloon, because even if it Terastallizes into a flying type to be immune to Earthquake, it's just going to get toxic. You look at Dragapult. If Dragapult specs, it's never beating Claude. Unless it's Terra Dragon Draco, then I think it can do a KO. Valiant needs Psyshock to beat Claude, otherwise it's cooked. We look in A rank. Espatra, I already explained how it works with Espatra. Hatterene's pretty solid versus Claude if Claude is not running Poison Jab or Gunk Shot. But if Claude is running either of those moves, it is definitely very tough for Hat. Also, if you're unaware and you Terra Dark, well, Hat can't kill you with Draining Kiss. It doesn't do shit. Roaring Moon obviously beats his physical attacker. Rotom-Wash. The funny part about Rotom-Wash is that if you're unaware or Water Absorb, it doesn't make a difference. Because even if you're unaware, Hydro Pump only does like 48 max. So Claude, even if burned, can actually switch into Rotom, tank 2 Hydros, recover off, throw the Toxic at it, spike up, whatever it wants to do. You take all of Rotom's Hydro Pumps. Dirge, you get up max layers on Dirge. Pex and Volcarona, you get up max layers. You go to A rank, Amoonguss, Glimmora, you get up max layers. Iron Moth, max layers. Slowking, I'm still getting up max layers, Slowking. Unless you're Specs with Psychic, then I'm a little scared. But Claude's doing his thing, puts up the hazards, and does a damn good job of doing it, while also walling a lot of the most annoying special attackers in the meta. So that is our 10 through 15. Next up, we have Dozo, Cinderace, Chomp, Pex, and Amoonguss. So let's talk about Dozo first, since it's the next up, and it is a fellow unaware mon. So Dozo fits quite well with Clodsire, because you can just go full Fizz Def on this. This is the bulkiest mon in OU currently on the physical side. I believe it has been stated that Dondozo is bulkier than Lugia with 150 HP plus 115 defense, which is really kind of outrageous if you think about it. All that being said, Dozo does find itself at 16th place in the tier ranking or whatever. You look at the tier list here and it's an A rank. Now, here's my problem with Dondozo and why you don't really see me using it and why you wouldn't really see me using it in general. Dozo is too easy, in my opinion, to take advantage of. Way too easy to take advantage of. This mon only has Rest and Sleep Talk as reliable recovery. If you want to go with Body Press, well then you can't even use Sleep Talk, so you're even worse in terms of having a reliable recovery physical wall. I feel like Dondozo is always forced to come in on Pokemon like Great Tusk. Look at this team, for example. Either you go into your Great Tusk or you go into your Dondozo against Great Tusk. Either way, Dozo I feel like is always getting knocked off by the ground type that it comes in to check. It has a great attack stat of base 100, so it's not like it hits like a wet noodle or anything like that. It's a strong Pokemon. But I just hate the fact that once you rest up, I feel like it's so hard to get it started again. I do think that it's well suited for stall teams, and it has a almost irreplaceable spot on stall teams for what it can do. That or a Lomomola, whichever you want to go with. But I do think on some hyper-offensive matchups, like against hyper-offense, yes, Dondozo can just straight up 6-0. And when you play against a Kingambit or a Chien-Pao, there is nothing better than having a Dondozo. I totally agree. But all that being said, I really just do not like Rest Talk as means of recovery. I do not find it reliable. It's very hard for me, personally, to like using Dondozo or even consider it to be an overly consistent mon. That being said, though, I do understand why it's top 20. It will always wall the fuck out of things like Dragonite, non-banded Chien-Pao, you know, physically attacking Garchomp, Kingambit. Like, it doesn't matter. Dozo is always going to smoke those mons in the 1v1. I really do like Curse Body Press as well. I don't like mono attacking Wave Crash at all, which is an issue, because then it's like, dude, you don't even have Sleep Talk. I know. It's crazy with Dozo. So that is just my beef with Dondozo. You have to deal with Rest Talk. So if you're good with Rest Talk, then go for it. I personally, though, it's not for me. That's for the last decade. I cannot deal with this Rest Talk Dondozo. What is this? Suicune? Like, I don't need this anymore. I don't need this in my life, all right? A lot of you are trying to make a physical Suicune. You know what I have to say to you? 2 middle fingers. All right. Next up, we have Cinderace. So Ace has been around now for a solid month, a real month in OU, and it's found itself at 17th. So this is higher up than I expected. I didn't think Ace was that good. I don't even be using Ace. I only have one team with it. But CTC likes it quite a bit, as some of my bros seem to like it as well. I think the set that they were running was this. Court Change Wisp, which is really just incredible. So they had Wisp because they were catching so many Garchomps, Great Tusks, Toxapex on the Switch. You're able to do residuals that way. Pyro Ball still hits very hard. I think Cinderace has found a really good spot in the meta. Speed is still great. If Chien-Pao wants to go Adamant, it's actually 1 base point lower than Cinderace, which is just great. Cinderace is also naturally faster than stuff like Iron Valiant. Its speed ties Roaring Moon. U-turn is a great, pivot option as always, and nothing has a move like Court Change. You got to remember, we're in a very hazards-intensive metagame, so Court Change is still a really amazing luxury to have on your team, and sometimes if you're going up against these heavy, Glimmora offenses or a Ting-Lu team with, Ting-Lu plus Great Tusk putting up rocks and spikes, then sometimes you just have your Cinderace come in there and Court Change it, and the opponent's like, fuck, I can't do anything about this, what do I do, what do I do? So I think I misjudged Cinderace when it first came out. I just didn't know the right set to run. But now I will say that Cinderace is a good spot in the meta. It's faster than a lot. It still hits strong. Pyro Ball is a great move. Very low risk, high reward. Court Change is great. We look at the full tier list. By ability rankings. And yeah, it's just a good Gloomon to have. Yeah, versus a lot of the most offensive Pokemon like Chien, Great Tusk, it might not win 1v1 flat out. But as a support Pokemon, while also being an offensive Pokemon, I think it does a great job of that. So let's move on from that. Alrighty, Garchomp. Garchomp down to 18th. I don't like that. I don't like that. So the new rage that everybody likes with Garchomp is they like running Life Orb, I think. They all like running this, Life Orb Special. Now, I don't think this is a bad set. This set has always found its way into Pokemon, right? They've used this in Gen 5. They've used it in Gen 6. They've used it in Gen 7, 8. Like, bro, they've always used stupid Life Orb, Draco, Fire Blast. This is a good set, though. Don't get it twisted, especially right now when asshole Great Tusk has 53% usage. There's no better feeling than dropping that max special attack Life Orb Draco, cooking its ass for 80%, and then you just know you're in an amazing position. So I'm not even surprised that Life Orb Chomp has gone as in the highest set for this thing. It totally makes sense. There's a couple of other good sets though that I do want to highlight. The Hazard set is always going to be good. SD, I don't know if SD is good. I think it's probably bad. Just because there's better stuff to run. If you want to run a Swords Dance or a physically attacking Groundmon, just run Bulk Up Great Tusk with Rapid Spin. You do way more with that. This one's Life Orb. I want to find one of my Sash lead ones. Let's see. Oh, this one's Spikes Life Orb. It does get Spikes, which is so epic. Here we go. Rocky Helmet, double hazards, max HP, max speed, jolly. Just all reliable, great at getting up the hazards, good at dragging, tailing out stuff. Rocky Helmet is amazing because if stuff like Great Tusk comes into Rapid Spin, they have to take so much recoil. I drag and tail that bitch ass out, and I'm still faster than that guy pre-Rapid Spin, so I'm able to get those hazards up in its face, Earthquake, whatever I want to do. Chomp owns Great Tusk. If Tusk doesn't have Ice Spinner, Helmet Chomp totally exposes Tusk, and for that reason, I actually really like Chomp. It being at 18, it kind of annoys me. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of annoys me. It seems like some disrespect has been done, but yeah, Chomp is basically only seen as a mixed attacker with Hazard or a full-on Hazardsmon, but it does its job well, so it makes sense. Pex at 19. Pex has continued to rise as the metagame continues to, just progress. Pex is going to keep going. It'll keep going up. It's a great mon. It's not as overpowered as it used to be because there's no more, toxic, scald bullshit. It was literally overpowered in previous generations. It's very clear now in Generation 9 how much more overpowered Pex was back then than it is now that it's been nerfed. And it's like a respectable Pokemon. So yeah, now Pex runs this. Chilling Water, Toxic, Recover, Haze, right? It can no longer do all that, scald bullshit. It just has to do this, and it's honestly really easy to get around this mon in my opinion. It's a good defensive mon. It will be able to take on your physical attackers, but like I said before, now you can just bring in Kingambit or Chien-Pao or whatever and set up on this thing without worrying about a damn thing, because all it can go for is Chilling Water, which drops your attack by 1. Well, too bad Swords Dance goes up +2, little guy. if Pex can't Toxic the Pokemon in front of it, it really is not going to be able to do anything. I think all Pex is now run Toxic, right? Toxic, Infestation, Recover, Haze. You got to run Recover. You got to run Haze. You can't knock off anything anymore with Pex either. Oh, what a shame. This guy got cooked. Get owned, Pex. Get owned. It's a good Pokemon, though. It's still hard to kill in one hit, and that forever will be valuable. And passing off Toxics is annoying, but I don't know. I never find myself that worried against Toxapex unless it's on a full stall team. So, yeah, whatever. It can be there at number 19. Amoonguss. Amoonguss is my dog. You all know I love Amoonguss every generation all the time. This is a Pokemon that should be above Toxapex. It should be above Dondozo. Should be above Cinderace. Should be above a lot of these clowns, all right? Amoonguss is the GOAT. All right, beautiful resistances to fighting, fairy, and water. What more can I possibly ask for in a Pokemon? Spores, everything. Great double stab with Giga Drain and Sludge Bomb, which has an amazing 30% chance to poison. And then foul play, so stuff like Gholdengo can't come in for free or Dragonite can't set up in front of me. Doesn't matter. Even if it only does 25% to Gholdengo, look, that's still damage that I like doing. You gotta understand that. Amoonguss in general is just perfect. I love this Pokemon. It's one of those guys, if you can't Oko Amoonguss, who's taking this Spore? You're Garganacl, get ready for these Giga Drains, or you're turning Fairy, get ready for these Sludge Bombs. I'm telling you, this team, for example, I would put in work against this team with an Amoonguss. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. Counters are Volcarona, which cannot Oko me and will get Spored. Gholdengo, which is pretty damn solid, but I will be stalling it out of recovers. Or I could have Stomping Tantrum. And then Garganacl. Garganacl, which I'll definitely smoke because Giga Drain will do too much long term. In the end, Amoonguss will always annoy the majority of teams. Like, it's very hard for Amoonguss to just be completely useless. Even if they have something that can switch into Spore and it's like, ah, damn it, I can't Spore something. That doesn't mean Amoonguss is useless. It just means that you got to kind of change the game plan. So, Amoonguss, well done. Next up, we have Meow. So, Meow is actually below Ace, which is interesting. Is that new Ace hype, or what could it be? Why would Meow be lower? I think Meow is really good. We see it a lot in tournament lately, especially in tournament lately. It's just a fast Pokemon. I think the Dual Stab is amazing. Flower Trick, Knockoff, both extremely strong. Knockoff still removes items, so you can't go wrong with that. Play Rough, making this the strongest physical fairy type in the game after, what's it called? No, it literally is the strongest fairy because what's its face has to use Spirit Break, Iron Valiant. This is the best Play Rougher in the game right now, which is funny. People don't even run Banded though. They run Spikes, they run like Taunt, they run stuff like that. I think Meow is very solid. 110 attack is great. 123 speed is really good too. The bulk is shit, but who cares? This Mon hits like a truck. Even looking at this team right here, Banded Flower Trick would roll this team up in a pack. Couldn't do shit about it. You look at a lot of teams and Meow can just be really annoying. Look at this team, for example. Yes, Volcarona is physically defensive and can scare it out with Flame Body, but if you don't burn it, well, you're like one U-turn away from just getting 2-hit KO'd by Knockoff. Again, though, you'll probably get Flame Body because Volk is a cheap Pokemon. I digress. Meow's a great Pokemon at what it does. Flower Trick and Knockoff is an amazing... Like, it's even past the coverage, right? Grass Dark is whatever as a typing. We see Grass Dark. We've seen it so many times. But this move, Flower Trick, is too dope, man. It's too dope. Never misses and always crits. Like, what is this bullshit? And then it's one of the few last survivors that gets Knockoff. Good job, Meow. I think you're going to rise up in the next couple of weeks. I think February usage stats, this thing will rise up. Roaring Moon 22, I already said how surprising that was. Honestly, 22 through 25 are all really, really damn surprising to me. These are some of the best mons in the meta, to me. Dirge completely goobs Espathra, Volcarona. Judging by the Terra, you can destroy stuff like Dragonite, Valiant. I don't understand why Dirge is so low. It's actually really confusing to me. I'm looking at the top 10 too, and it's not like Dirge doesn't beat the majority of these guys. I've seen someone run Covert Cloak Dirge in tournament to take on Garganacl and sub, which was really cool. In general, I really don't understand why Dirge would be this low. I can only think it's because people don't like going for Wisp, Slack Off, Torch Song, but I don't understand why is Dirge this low? I mean, even past Roaring Moon, because Roaring Moon I can understand. Why would you run Roaring Moon when the better Dark type is Chien-Pao and the better Dragon is Dragonite? Then where's the room for Roaring Moon? Like, I get it why Roaring Moon is here. I get it why Meow is here. But who is doing what Dirge does? So it's a little confusing. As for Roaring Moon, I would say your best bet with Moon is Banded and the Booster Energy setup set. Both these sets are very good. This set is still great. People just, you know, they forgot about it. But both of those sets are good. I don't think Scarf or any of that shit is that necessary. Or the bulk up jaw lock, not bulk up, the bulky jaw lock set. I think that shit is ass. Just run Banded or Booster Energy. And then Dirge, I only like Will-O-Wisp, Slack Off, Torch Song, Hex. Some people like running Sub over Wisp with Shadow Ball, but I really do not like that. I really do not like that whatsoever. So I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, Sub is a decent set, but I think Wisp is just better. Now, Tredulous. Why is Tredulous this low? I actually expect the Treads to hit the top 10. I guess with Tusk at 53% usage, it's only going to get tougher and tougher for Treads, and it's probably only going to go down in usage, because if your greatest counter is 53% usage in the metagame, you're fucked. So sorry, Treads. And then Espathra at 25th. Espathra's cheap bullshit. I don't know why it's this low. Maybe because people just don't want to win with it. It's going to get banned. Like, I'm pretty certain at some point it's going to get banned. I hate you, Espathra. I don't have anything positive to say about you, so I'll just stop here. 26 through 30. Okay, Azu. Azu is great on Rain. However, Azu has completely had its lunch taken and eaten by Floatzel. Floatzel came to the city and there's a new hot boy in town, so Azu is not cutting it anymore. Belly Drum is still cool. I'm sure you can run Bandit or Assault Vest and it's not bad. Let me go look for some of my teams real quick. I got a Belly Drum Citrus there. Belly Drum Citrus here. It's cool on non-rain teams, but it was better in the Chi-Yu meta. Now that there's no Chi-Yu, like, dude, what's the point? Azu's still good though. I'm happy it's OU. And I mean, it's nice to have the water priority. Still has a hard-hitting play rough, but maybe this is the strongest play rough in OU, not Meow. But Meow's used more, so don't know. It's kind of close. All right. Iron Moth will ignore Chi-Yu. Iron Moth 28th. Kind of surprised this thing is so low too, but it makes sense because you look at the top 10. There's D-Knight and Ting-Lu and Garganacl and all this other shit. Just makes this thing's life hell. Also, you don't want to run Boots on this thing. You want to run Booster or Specs. So then you're weak to rocks. All that being said though, it's a really good mon still. I think it should get more usage. A lot of teams, they don't have anything to switch into Specs Iron Moth. You just have to have the right support. Like this team, for example. This looks like a strong team. But actually, I'm gonna be honest. Specs Iron Moth gets goobed so badly by a Spadef Skeledirge. But this is like an egregious super counter. I'm trying to think of what set I would run on a Specs Iron Moth. Let me think here. Overheat Sludge Wave Energy Ball. I think my last move would be Dazzling Gleam. Because I would want to hit Garchomps and D-Knights. So yeah, I do think this set definitely has merit. And can be really, really good. Because even if I Terra Fire, I bet Skeledirge comes in even with a Spadef spread and takes half. And then because of Unaware, I just KO it the next turn. Yeah, watch out for Terra Fire, Specs Moth. Alright, this is Chi-Yu at home. Greninja 29. Greninja's not good currently. Like, it's like kind of cool with Specs, but it's not like a god tier mon. But of course, it's only been a few days, so we need to have time for the metagame to develop and give it a chance. In my opinion, Specs is the best set on Greninja currently. That's the one that I think is the easiest to use. When Battle Bond gets released, whenever that is, we'll see from there. But for now, I would say use Specs. That's the way to go. Specs is nice. I like Specs quite a bit. If I look at it compared to the tier list, it's not bad. Like, it can check Gholdengo, Tusk, Garg. And then from the A+ rank guys, well, it Okos all of them. Not faster than one of them, but even in A rank, Gren's not bad. We'll see. I think Specs Gren actually has room to run up from 29th. Like, I think it'll be in the 20, like early, high 20, like where Roaring Moon and Meow are. I think it's going to be there by the end of the month. Pelipper 30th. This is only because of Floatzel. Rain is good as a result of Floatzel, so shoutouts to Pelipper. Pelipper is pretty solid though because it does take on Great Tusk, which I like a lot. Great Tusk is a super asshole Pokemon. It's just nice to have a mon that can set up the Rain, still has access to Roost, checks Ting-Lu as well. But on the flip side, Pelipper is still just a Pelipper. It's not doing much for you. It's honestly at the best it's ever been in this generation because it has a purpose beating Great Tusk. Like, it literally has a purpose beating Tusk. But in the old generations, all it did was get up Rain. But like I said, it's still a Pelipper. Dies to every attack. You got to be careful. Breloom and Scizor down here at 31 and 36. The priority gang. Fuck it, put Ceruledge there too. These three priority guys. You remember the early Gen 9 team that the Base Lord made? This one right here. I uploaded with this. This is a Picasso of a team. Oh, featuring the original Spin Forever and Niflap the Palafin. Oh, this is just a Gorgiano team. But yes, we had our priority spam from Scizor Breloom and our Swords Dance Ceruledge with Shadow Sneak. We had so much priority spam. And I used to run Breloom like anything. Even this team that ranked number 1 had Breloom. It looks like the majority of priority spamming has gone entirely to the guys in the top 10, being Dragonite with E-Speed, Chien-Pao with Sucker Punch, and what's the other one? Ice Shard, and then Kingambit with its Sucker Punch. So it looks like priority has completely gone into those three's hands from Breloom, Scizor, and Ceruledge. However, I do think all three of those are still good Pokemon. It's kind of crazy to see that Ceruledge and Scizor might not even beat OU next rotation, but hopefully Scizor stays. I think Scizzor's gonna get bounced out though. Scizor usage is at an alt, is like it's just going lower and lower. I think Scizzor's on its way out, and Ledge might also be on its way out. Orthworm here at 32. Its partner Grimmsnarl here at 35. Yup, it's just hyper offense cheese. They're always gonna be at the ass end of the tier just because they're there to employ certain specific cheese play styles. But other than that, they're not good. They're just too broken for UU, I think is the issue. They're definitely too broken for UU. And then Quaquaval at 34. I think Quaquaval is an overhyped Pokemon personally. I have lost to which Quaquaval sets in the past. I lost to the Taunt set. This is Scarfed. I saw somebody use that the other day. I've lost to, this is Mystic Water 4 attack. This is actually kind of heat. I have lost to the Taunt Bulk Up Terra Steel set with Roost. That one was pretty cool. But other than that, I don't think Quaquaval is that good. There's just other ways to go. There's just other ways to go. This thing is not that good. And then the last thing I do want to talk about, folks. Iron Hands to UU, Palma to UU, and Torkoal to UU. That's a little interesting. A little interesting. Iron Hands is a Pokemon, like I said, it has kind of fallen off. Like, it's a great Mon, stats-wise. Let's go pull up the stats, because it's not like this thing is some struggling Mon, right? It's our first electric fighting type. You look at the stats, right? And this thing is a bulky motherfucker. This one, I mean, is overkill on the defensive. Let me go to this one, which is Max Tech, Max Speed F, right? It's got a great attack, hits 400. Defenses are fine because the HP is huge. The Phys Def is great. But, I don't know. It's just, I'm not surprised it's UU. This is not something that I think, yeah, I want this on my team. Why would I want this slow sack of shit over Iron Valiant? That's what I think most of the time. And I think a lot of people think the same thing. Because nobody's using Iron Hands in OU, and it's now in UU. There's just way better. There's just way better options. I mean, obviously you don't run Fake Out. This is on this specific team. You would have like Swords Dance or whatever the case is, but Hands is not that good. It makes sense for it being UU. Palma. Palma means that both of our Revival Blessing Pokemon are not OU at all. Palma's not that good. Like, the attack stat is decent, but nobody really takes advantage of it. There's nobody really close combats. And what's the move? What is that move? The Super Volt move? Let me look it up. I forgot the name. Double Shock. Nobody really does that. I think that you could make something cool with an offensive palm up, but for the most part, again, it just has competition from the superior fighting type. Valiant has all these dudes crying because he's taking all their girls, all their money, all their shows. Why would you run these inferior fighting types? And you know who the other superior fighting type is? Past Valiant, that dude Great Tusk with 53% usage. All fighting types that aren't Great Tusk or Iron Valiant are on pack watch right now. Like, they cannot do shit about it. And then finally, Torkoal. Sun fell off because Rain's better, and Chiyu got banned, is the most simple way to put it. And yeah, that's basically it. A little summary on the tier list. I know I kind of sped it up at the end, but I also did not want this video to be another super 2-hour saga where I go over everything, and I mean everything that these Pokemon can do, because y'all be playing OU. You know how it is. And if you don't know how it is, shit. Go watch some more Agency Showdown lives. But I would say for the most part, I agree with the top 10. There was some stuff I didn't agree with, like Meow being this low and, you know, Skeledirge being this low. Glimmora being number 13 here, while the tier list said that it was A- rank and worse than all this stuff, which I thought was a really interesting difference. Goes to show how in ladder people like, you know, quick, easy to win stuff like Glimmora, or not even easy to win, just easy decision. Like, it comes quickly. You win or you lose, it comes quickly with Glimmora. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I guess my predictions for the upcoming month: Chien-Pao gets banned, Garg enters the top 5, Greninja goes up to probably 22 and up in terms of usage, And that's basically all that we have here today. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Do leave a like if you did. Make sure you go and check out my discussion video from yesterday where I was talking about the 6 most broken, most unfair, most hated Pokemon in the metagame. I'm sure you guys will enjoy that. And yeah, go leave a comment. Let me know what you think of this tier list. I'll probably be streaming later tonight playing some NU. Catch y'all soon. Peace.